everybody. Critical RA here. Going to finally, after a couple months, start doing some commentaries again. And we're going to start off with Urgot on this particular video. I am using the third-party application LOL Replay. I suggest if you want to see how you do, I recommend downloading it. It is a valuable tool to help you learn, and especially if you want to do videos. I mean, it's besides frapsing it live, it's really your only option. And I mean, I've probably got 35 games saved at the moment, so it's just a really stinking good application, if you ask me. Um, it's nice to be doing commentaries again. We kind of face rolled this game, which I'm okay with because I'm really just want you to want everyone to see how Urgot's played, the incredible range that he has, the skills that he uses, how he uses them. Real light-hearted stuff. These guys are terrible. It's ridiculous. I am getting back into ranked again. I would tell you guys my ELO rating, but I tanked it like 9 months ago, and I can't seem to get back to where I used to be, which was the high 1300s. And anyways, I won't even get into that. I'm gonna go over his abilities. You can see there his passive. Anytime you auto attack, it's 15% reduced armor. Acid Hunter is a well, actually, we'll go with corrosive charge first. It does a physical damage over time. It does this. It's just like a little grenade that you launch, and you see it right there. And if you hit something, it gives them the poison, and then when they're poisoned, the Acid Hunter it actually missile locks onto that target, and from incredible range too. It's ridiculous, and it deals a really good amount of damage. Also, with the charge, if it hits them, they get the poison or the damage over time effect. It also reduces their armor by 12%, 15%. I'm pretty sure it increases as you level up the skill. So, pretty freaking amazing set of two skills right there. They work extremely well in conjunction with each other. And as you see, I don't think we take them down. No, we don't end up taking them down. They work very well together. And then we have Terror Capacitor. Pretty much just puts a shield around you. Now, whenever you activate the shield, any attacks that you do slow your target. So what I like to do is I like to throw out my charge, try to hit a hero, activate my shield, and then just start throwing out Acid Hunters. Acid Hunter after Acid Hunter. So that way, they're slow, they're getting hit, they can't get away from me. And either they are forced to turn around and fight because they know they're going to die, or they get away and come to fight another day, and then I end up killing them anyways. Then we have a Hyperkinetic Position Reverser. And I'll point that out. Pretty much it just swaps you with whatever enemy champion you target. So if I was to go to Mord, I mean there's a minimum distance that you have to be apart, But I would just go to Mord, and we would pretty much just switch places. And I would gain, X amount of armor, magic resist, or whatever in the process, and that target would be slowed by 40% for 3 seconds, or what have you and whatnot. I picked up Flash and Teleport. I'm usually mid in almost every game that I play. It's where I'm best at, but Brand said he really wanted it, so I let him have it. My CS is usually a lot better in mid, and I don't have to fight for kills. And I usually just demolish whoever I'm in mid with, unless it's... I don't know, sometimes I have a hard time with Vlad because he always pulls when I go to charge, and I can't ever get any hits off. So, anyways, Armor Pen is huge on Urgot. Armor Pen is kind of what does it for him. The runes I run is I run 6.5 mana regen and 25 Armor Pen, and I do that because I need it early game because I'm a very aggressive Urgot player early game, and I'm acid hunting constantly. I mean, that's just all I do is I charge, I shield, I acid hunt. That's over and over and over. And I need that mana regen to compensate for all the things, all the skills that I do. And you see, now, yeah, I think Haitian ended up alpha striking on that one. And you'll see here in a little bit, I'll get Kale from like a football field away. People say it's an OP range. Yeah, it probably is, but my excuse for that is don't get hit by the bomb, and you won't get hit by the acid hunter. Um, anyways, I don't even remember where I was at. I think I get them somewhere around here. Uh, so, anyways, I completely lost my train of thought now. He is a fun player. He's a fun hero to play. Like I said, you really need the armor pen. It's extremely important. And like I said about the mana regen, I do go full at 21-0 um, 9, I think, in the masteries, and it works out really well. And I usually start out with Mana Mune first, and I do that because I mean, and I usually get it early because I'm mid, but by the time I'm level, I don't know, by the time I'm level 8, 7, I usually have it by then. And you probably get like 146, maybe 150 attack damage off that total, somewhere around there. Um, and that's with whatever you had naturally. But cut that, that high attack damage that early, coupled with all the armor pin that you have. I mean, I'm probably taking people down to damn near zero armor, and you just melt through the health. It's ridiculous, and it's nice early game because the tanks aren't beefy yet. They don't really have that much health. They haven't gotten their chainmail yet, and he's just really sick early game. I don't know how other way to put it. He kind of falls off late game, but with the right team and the right items, he can pretty well hold his own. I don't usually do attack speed. What I do is I mainly focus on cooldown reduction, armor pen, attack damage. I do end up getting some attack speed, uh, which you'll see from a few of one of the items that I'll get here eventually. I believe it is, yeah, Ghostblade. I don't get Ghostblade till last, but what I do get as soon as I get Manamune, and then I get the CD boots, I go straight for the first part of Ghostblade, which gives the cooldown reduction on armor pen. Pretty much everything you need for a wonderfully amazing Urgot. That you saw right there, that was my ultimate. Pretty much just switched places with Mordekaiser there. Uh, just to, that is such a fun spell to use, especially in mid when whoever you're laning against may or may not be a little bit more cocky than you are, doesn't realize that you're level 6 or doesn't even know what your ult is. You can just switch them right into your tower, unload on them, and get the kill. And it's good for being in brush. It's a good, and I've seen a lot of people go tank Urgot, and mainly because you get the bonus armor magic resist from the ultimate, and it just throws you into the mix. They don't think you're a tank. You're really honestly you're an AD carry, but some people have changed it up because of that specific ult, because of the advantages you gain from it from switching. And I've seen it work. I've seen it fail. It just kind of depends. Besides armor pen, I would say cooldown reduction is number one, or well, number two. As you see, Acid Hunter's extremely low cooldown, and the charge is a relatively low cooldown. I mean, I usually have about 40% by the time the game's up, and just from various items that I get, and you'll see. I'll before the game ends, I'll tell you what my entire build ends up being. But they work really well in conjunction with each other. The range is just stupid. Um, some tips to watch out for when you're playing Urgot. Whenever you do throw out your charge and you do hit a champion, there is a limit or a range limit on Acid Hunter when it locks onto a target. I can't. Let me see. I'm trying to see how I can explain this. If you can't see him, you can't hit him. Literally. I mean, he can just go into the fog of war, and you can just get it off, and it'll shoot up to him. But really, if you can't see him, you can't hit him. But that refers to fog of war only. Now, remember, when you use Noxious Charge, you have to have your mouse hovering over the infected target, or else the missile won't lock on. Now, if you can't lock on, then you just throw it out there wherever you're facing or wherever you have your cursor pointed. Oh, there was that really, really long skill, Noxious Charge or Acid Hunter hit that I was talking about. And as you saw, I could just barely see him right before he went to that fog of war, but I ended up getting it off and got the last hit and got the kill. But like I said, remember, keep your mouse hovered over that target. It'll home in, and I mean, you don't have to really wait at all. You just hover over it and it goes. Now, if you charge someone and they go into brush, all you got to do is just hover over the brush, and 99% of the time, it's just going to lock onto them, and it's going to shoot them. Why it doesn't do it in fog of war versus brush, I would imagine it's a range problem, because fog of war, I think, the edge of my fog of war pretty much is the distance of Acid Hunter's homing capabilities. Now, brush is different. It knows it's there. I mean, I can understand the difference between the two. But, the key thing for Urgot is charge, shield, Acid Hunter. Make sure you're hovered over the infected target, and then just keep acid and just keep shooting acid out to them, and then eventually you'll wear them down, and you'll end up getting the kill. So there's really nothing to it. It may take a little while to kind of time your charges, and that just comes with practice, just like anything else. I mean, I was pretty bad with Urgot in the beginning, and then you kind of gotta know your opponent a little bit. You gotta find out his mannerisms, and you gotta do it pretty quick too. I mean, within the first 2 or 3 minutes, I know whether my laning partner is aggressive or not. Whoever I'm facing in the mid, I know if he's aggressive, I know if he's not. And generally, if people have played Urgot, or people have seen him, they're not aggressive. I've seen very few people who have been aggressive against me, and that's because they know that I have incredible range. They're not going to be able to get to me once I lock onto them and then shoot Acid Hunter at them when I'm homing on them. And it, like I said, it just melts away that health. So they tend to be very dodgy, kind of like people are with Anivia's Ice Ball. I think it's her Q, I believe. And that's because, if they get hit, they're going to get stunned, in my case. If they get hit, they're going to get homed on, and they're just going to get their health eaten away, and they're going to have to end up going back to base. So just, you kind of got to, and the range on charge isn't very long either. It's not long at all. So you kind of got to just feel your way out of it, play a couple games and get it right, and you'll end up dominating. As I said before, I completely missed that because he went too far left. I wasn't paying attention, and it ended up not working out for me. Like I said, his early game is probably his strongest. If you get fed, his mid game is rough. I mean, I feel bad for a lot of these teams. I've been fed in mid 6-0 before, and I've just completely decimated entire teams because they can't keep up with the damage and armor pin that I have, and they can't get their items fast enough. But I mean, and that happens in some cases, and in other cases it doesn't. If you don't get fed, his mid game is fair. It's not bad. It's not horrible, but it's not bad. Luckily you still have other utilities at your disposal other than just trying to kill somebody. You can slow people. You can reverse them just like we did there to take out Kale. Very unsuspecting like. You got a slow. You got homing. I mean, Urgot is an extremely versatile champion once you understand how to use his abilities properly. Um, I've seen a lot of people build him a lot of different ways. Every now and then I'll use Triforce. Not a big fan of Triforce on Urgot personally, but it works. It's not terrible by any means. I mean, a Sheen, if late game would be nice, I guess. But I generally do boots, Mana Mune, the first part of Ghostblade, and then probably my very last item is upgrading Ghostblade, and then I do. Let me find it real quick. Trust me, you're not. Oh, no, you're not missing it. I'm pretty sure I die right here. We don't need to see that. We don't need to see that. That was a mistake. It was a fluke. So yeah, I do that. I get the first part of a Ghostblade, then I end up getting Frozen Mallet. I already have a slow, whatever. This gives me health. It gives me attack, and it gives me a free slow that I don't even have to activate or nothing. So I don't mind getting it. It's whatever. I always get Guardian Angel by the end. Depending on how the game, I don't ever get Infinity's Edge, and some every night if their armor's really high, I'll get a Last Whisper, but I usually don't. Sometimes I'll get a Hex Drinker, and every now and then, like I said, I'll get a Sheen. Maybe I think one game I've done a Trinity Force. Sometimes I'll do Black Cleaver. I mean, my item they change quite a bit actually. I just kind of go game by game and decide what I want when I want it, and I don't really have a set build. I just I have my core items. The Brutalizer, boots, Manamune. 3 core items every single Urgot should have. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'll be ashamed at you if you don't get that. Oh, nice. Shin came to get me. As you saw there, prime example of Sivir. Got too close, got hit by the bomb. Slow, Acid Hunter. She didn't stand a chance. And of course, by this time, I got some pretty good items. We did the reverse on Mord. I think we end up taking him out. I think Haitian does. And yeah, that's kind of my core build right there. I think every Urgot should have that. If they don't, they're definitely not playing them correctly, if you ask me. As far as fighting in the jungle, it's different in the jungle because Fog of War is, it's not like it is in the open. So you kind of got to toy around with that for a little while and see what your options are. That's kind of you need to practice it to learn it type of deal. I mean, brush is one thing, but since you can't really see around the corners without wards, it makes it really difficult for Urgot to kind of home in on his target. And that's why I really don't prefer jungle fighting with Urgot. I think it's a heap of a problem, and I hate it. But that's why we buy war. I don't really ever buy wards and normals. I don't really care. It's just a normal game, win or lose, whatever. But in ranked, I definitely do. So it's not as much of a problem. But just keep that in mind. Always keep in mind that even though the range may be great, you are affected by Fog of War, especially in the jungle. So keep watch for that. We're doing extremely well, which is to be expected because this team is so horrible. That's pretty much all the bases covered on Urgot. Just make sure you do your combo correctly. Make sure you slow. I can't tell you how many times I forget to slow, And if I had a slowed, I would have got a kill. And just remember to do that. That's kind of, it's like, 75% of the reason I get frozen malice because the stats are what I need. HP attack damage. It's really all I need because then I get armor pen later. And all the natural armor pen that Urgot has is probably plenty, but I like to play it safe because I don't really know what some of the tanks are going to end up doing later in the game, so it's always nice to be prepared for that. Um, but, that's just the way I like to play. I get Flash because he really doesn't have an escape other than his reversal. Um, but that's really not an I mean, I think it's a rare chance I've used it as an escape, but not really. It's really an initiating spell, to be honest with you, or a gang spell, or an ambush spell, and a damn good one at that. I mean, if you can build rather tanky, it actually does not that bad. And by the end of this, I usually have, depending on if I get Hex Drinker or not, a pretty good amount of magic resist, plenty of armor. I mean, I'm probably around 120 some odd. Um, and that certainly helps late game because you're going to need a late game because, I mean, let's be honest, it's not about kills, it's about towers. I can't count the games where I've gone, you know, 40 and 15. And by the end of the game, everyone has gold. Everyone already has their items. So kills are point, or they never mattered in the first place. I mean, it's all about towers. Remember that. Towers, 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 towers. Don't ever give up just because you think it's GG. Oh, you don't even know. Things have turned on a dime. I could have won some games where I thought we would for sure had a loss. So, and don't underestimate Urgot's potential. Even late game, you're the guy that goes in there, throws out your charge, and by the time a lot of the work has been done by either the AP carry or you just arrived at the team fight a little bit late, you're the guy that goes in there, throws out the charge, and then has that long range to take out those people that are running away because they got low health. I mean, you're the guy that just takes shit out. You just take them out wherever they are. And that's kind of one of his stronger points. I would say it's his strongest point by far. Your ability to, I think he has one of the longest ranges like in the game as far as skill shots go. And technically, it's not really a skill shot because it's homing, but that's only if they get if that's only if they're affected by the charge. So, but you may not think. I mean, at first glance, he only really has one AOE, and it really doesn't do that much damage. I mean, it does a little bit, but not much. I mean, where he really shines is 1v1 and 1v2 and laning and things like that. He doesn't really excel too much at team fighting, so that's why I would recommend, going for the people who are low HP trying to get away and being the chaser, because you got that long range to be able to do that. So just, keep that in mind when you're playing Urgot. There's a lot to learn with this champion. A lot of things that you can't do with any other champion in this game that all of a sudden you can do. And you're just like, you're kind of like dumbfounded that you can actually do that now. So, like I said, keep that in mind when you play Urgot. He's an absolute riot to play. And yes, pun intended. Probably my most played champ to date by far. It was Corky, now it's Urgot. I've been playing Malzahar lately, but I usually end up finishing with Boots, Manamune, Ghostblade, Frozen Mallet, Guardian's Angel. Mix that in with a Hex Drinker or what the fuck is that item? Last Whisper. Sometimes even a Bloodthirster, but very rarely. And that's pretty much my build. I told you my ruins. Masteries, pretty much general stuff. Just remember what I said about homing, and making sure they have the charge and using your ultimate correctly to help your team. So, pretty short game. Really hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. I'll have another one for you here real soon. Don't forget to comment and let me know what you guys think. Also, send me replays. I'd love to do some commentaries on someone else's replays. I'll have my email in my channel, so just stop on by and feel free to send me some stuff. I'd rather see some stuff in the 1300 ELO or higher, so if you get a chance, send some my way, and I'll pick the best one I get, and you might end up seeing it up there here very soon. So y'all take it easy and have a good weekend. Bye.